Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for Saturday Morning Blast Off. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. You know what? I'm going to tip this just a little bit down. There we go. That's a bit better. Now I'm actually in frame instead of just in the top, bottom portion of it. Getting used to, like I said, the new setup and everything, and how and where to sit and everything like that. See, I can actually roll around. Well, you don't see that, but you could probably hear me rolling around down there. Let me take care of some business first, and we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. Basically, what YouTube does, takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up there just for you. Also, if you want to know when I'm be on live again next, you get the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule up there and also all the links to my social media. So Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon. No tier set on the Patreon. I'm waiting until I hit 1,000 subscribers, which I'm so close. Now, once I hit 1,000 subscribers, that way I'll start taking money from you guys and give you stuff in return. Of course, installments, how it works. Also, I have the links to my YouTube channel here, my Facebook page, and for those of you who saw Facebook, a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. All right. Hey, Marks. Hey, Filthy. So, yeah, I'm back. I know this is one of the first Saturday morning blast offs I've done. Well, it is the first Saturday morning blast off I've done here in the new place, and also the first one in a while that I've done. I think since the beginning. I only did one the beginning of this year, and that was just before I left San Diego. So, what do we got going on here? Well, and this one you're going to take with a grain of salt, by the way. It is from the Mirror. And I haven't seen it anywhere else, but supposedly Jodie Whittaker has quit Doctor Who, or basically the next season that shows up here is going to be her final season as Doctor Who. And that seems to be about what the run is, about 3 or 4 years, and you have everyone just kind of, they move on to something else. So it's not unusual and it's not unheard of, but who knows where we're going. Yeah. You're thinking that Michael Sheen might be the top choice for the next Doctor. I don't know, to tell you the truth. It'll be interesting to see. I honestly, I haven't watched the show in, I want to say since Matt Smith years. And yeah, I'm not really feeling like I'm missing much, to tell you the truth. So there's a lot of other TV that's on right now, and a Doctor Who just doesn't do it for me. So, but for those of you who are into it, there you go. I have no feelings towards Jodie Whittaker one way or the other at this point. I know that there's a lot of people, it's polarizing. And yeah, so there you go. Stanley says I checked out during the Tennant era. Yeah, me too. Tennant was the one that I just didn't like how mean he was, essentially. And I was like, yeah, I don't need to deal with this. And also the stories just weren't compelling to me. They really weren't. So it just seemed to kind of be going in a roundabout circle. Well, circular, I guess you could say. And so, yeah, there was no, for me, there wasn't a good storyline to it. I like a beginning, middle, and end is really what I like. So, what else do we got going on here? The Snyder Cut was originally going to be a mini series on HBO Max. Oh God, thank God it's not going to happen. So now, instead of being a mini series that people are going to check out in the first 15 minutes, it's going to be a 4-hour long movie, a 4+ hour long movie on HBO Max, which people are only going to watch the first 15 minutes of, fall asleep, or change channel. That's what's going to be there. Yeah, I'm not holding out any hopes. They keep showing Darkseid, and supposedly there's a T-shirt out there now that shows the new Darkseid in his armor, and I'm still seeing the same crappy claymation CGI looking Darkseid that they've been showing in the previews. And I'm like, dude, you had like, what was it, $40 million? You could have done something with the CGI or done anything. You could have done a guy in fucking makeup at that point and reshot it. And yeah. So Stanley says I read that on Twitter already. Yes, exactly. That's where Snyder had actually posted that it was coming out as a movie instead of a mini series. Filthy says also the DCU and CDCW series are officially canon. Yes, I know. Oh, and by the way, if you hear water trickling in the background, that's Pepper's water bowl, which I forgot to unplug. Normally I unplug it during my podcast, but yeah, I'm hearing it just slightly in the background. But yeah, I forgot to unplug it. That was one thing I forgot to do. So, oh, you meant checking out after 15 minutes. Oh, no problem, Pen. I was late myself. I was an hour late, as a matter of fact, because I was trying to set everything up. And you'll notice there's no collectibles, toys, whatever up there yet. I just haven't gotten around to them yet. They're in one of the boxes. They're in multiple boxes around here. I'm looking around. I've got boxes pretty much everywhere around me, which you don't see. And I've also got to fix the white balancing problem on the camera once again. So I might actually be getting a new computer to quell things. This computer's older. It's wow, I think it's over 5 years old now, which is old in computer years. So I might be getting a new one at this point. I'm waiting, I get the discounts and stuff like that to the new job. So that's what I'm waiting for at the moment. What else do we have? So this one is something that I'm going to tell you guys over and over and over and over again that you should be watching this. March 26th is going to be the first 3 episodes of Invincible. It's an animated series. I know you're going to say animated. Why should I watch an animated series? Because it's going to be fucking good. It's actually going to be an adult-oriented animated series based on the comic book Invincible. It's the Image comic Invincible. And what the story is about, it's about a teenager who he's got powers. His dad is actually the most powerful superhero on the planet. And his dad is essentially retiring and he's taking over the mantle. And you're going to say, well, why should I watch this? Well, one, it was one of the longest running Image comic series. It still is, I think. Yeah, they're still going on right now. And it's also in real time. So you see the characters age as they're going through. None of this thing where they're perpetually young and they're perpetually the same age. No, they actually age as they go through. Not only that, it's actually fairly well written. And this series has an impressive voice cast. I mean, a hugely impressive voice cast. Steve Yen from Walking Dead, he played Glenn. He is, of course, the main character. J.K. Simmons plays his dad. Sandra Oh is in this. Seth Rogen, Zazie Beetz, Mark Hamill, Walton Goggins, Jason Mantzoukas. I'm going through a list here. Michael Dorn, Jillian Jacobs, Carrie Payton, Zachary Quinto, Jeffrey Donovan, Nicole Byer. Like I said, the list keeps going on and on and on. And it's a huge fucking cast of people that are working on this thing. And this is the next big thing that's going to be on Amazon. They're hour-long episodes. They're 8 episodes. Like I said, they're dropping the first 3. And then every Friday thereafter, they're going to release a new episode. I am going to be covering the series mainly because I like the comic. And also, like I said, the voice cast is impressive. And I want to see what they're going to do with this. It's from Robert Kirkman, by the way. So from Walking Dead, of course. And it's going to be a good series. It's going to be something that people are going to be talking about. That's why I'm telling you guys now to watch it because this is something that is going to be the next big thing. I could be wrong about it. I could get bit in the ass on this, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be the next big thing. Stanley Tweedle says, like the comic, it could be good. Pretty bloody. Yeah, it's an adult-oriented comic. That's why it's on Amazon Prime. It's going to be violent. It is going to have adult themes, that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's going to be good. And speaking of adult themes, Eric Kripke posted on Twitter a front page to one of his scripts for The Boys. And what is he doing? He is taking on the, I think it's going to be for one episode, but there was a little mini series portion within The Boys called Hero Gasm, which was pretty explicit sexually, shall we say, in the comics. And supposedly he's written an episode all on Hero Gasm. And as he said, challenge accepted. He goes, I wanted to do this since the very beginning. And he goes, but I need to wait. And yeah, so I'm going to be interested in seeing how that works out. It's going to be fairly interesting. Yeah, there is a lot of good stuff coming. And by the way, if you go to suspendedfanimation.com, I have future stuff listed at the very bottom of the, what I'm doing for the week. And basically series that either even if I'm not covering it, I have some stuff in there. So, yeah. Stanley Twill says, I could have lived without seeing that in live action. Well, guess what? You're getting it. Yeah. Supposedly, now again, take this with a grain of salt because it hasn't been confirmed yet by Disney. Lars Mikkelsen, who of course is the older brother to Mads Mikkelsen and also is the voice of Grand Admiral Thrawn in Rebels, supposedly has been cast as the live action Grand Admiral Thrawn for the Ahsoka series. Now, this is something that I wanted for a long time, ever since we knew that we're getting a live action Ahsoka. And I am really jazzed that they actually are putting him in there as the live action version of Grand Admiral Thrawn. He has that skinny countenance, he has the face, and of course he has the voice because he did that. There is the rumor that supposedly Robert Downey Jr. Had been cast for the role, which is not the case. Robert Downey Jr. supposedly is going for the Kevin Feige Star Wars movie, whatever's going on there. He's not going to be cast in one of the TV series, mainly because he's Robert Downey Jr. and he can do pretty much whatever the hell he wants at this point, which is kind of funny because before Iron Man came out, what was that, 12 years ago? 13 years ago. And Robert Downey Jr., no one would touch with a 10-foot fucking pole because of all the stuff that had happened to him. He had, how should I say this? His career in Hollywood was essentially ended because of everything that was going on with him, drug-wise, alcohol-wise, stuff like that. And Jon Favreau, knew him, took a chance on him, brought him in, and look at where we're at now. I mean, completely turned this guy career around at this point. And yeah, I am too, Penn. He's a phenomenal actor, and it shows, quite honestly. And he even admits that he's like, he has to keep busy in order to keep those demons at bay and all that stuff. So that is, oh yeah, I love his Sherlock. I love his Sherlock pen. I really do. But then again, it's also part of Guy Ritchie, his stuff too. So Guy Ritchie, I like the way he does his movies and everything. He's actually doing a new MI5 movie with Jason Statham, of course, because Jason Statham is in pretty much every Guy Ritchie movie now. And Josh Hartnett. I just heard that they are doing a MI5 movie, which seems to be, it's either MI5 or MI6. I think it's MI5. But that's Guy Ritchie's next movie, which looks to be, I'll watch anything that Guy Ritchie is directing, quite honestly. So there you have it. Um, Snowpiercer has been renewed for a third season ahead of the second season premiere. This is on TNT. So if you have HBO Max, the first season of Snowpiercer is out on HBO Max that you can watch without the commercials and all that kind of stuff. I watched the first episode and I was kind of like, meh. If I'm really, really fucking bored, I might go back to it. So I don't know. There might be is it worth my time somewhere buried in there? I don't know. I'll see how it is once I get the surround sound system hooked up and the TV and all that stuff. That I haven't done as of yet. Speaker wires coming today. I just got word on the phone that that's happening, and also my speakers supposed to be. I'm actually completing the entire surround sound system for the first time. Um, I've got Dolby Atmos speakers that are on order right now that are coming today. That was the final piece of the puzzle for the surround sound system, and yeah, so I'm actually kind of excited because I'm going to have an entire sound system put together for the first time. The King Arthur thing wasn't that good. You didn't like the King Arthur thing? I liked it. I looked at it from the point of view of kind of a fairy tale being told. Excuse me. And I liked Charlie Hunnam as King Arthur. I really did. Excuse me. There we go. I also liked Eric Bana as Uther. I kind of dug him in that, to tell you the truth. And that whole thing with him being turned into the stone that the sword that Excalibur is in. I really like that too. I just kind of dug the mythology of it. But that was me. I like the dragon too, and I mean, just everything about that movie was actually kind of good. I liked it. But hey, but no, it didn't need to be made into a series. I just think it got wrongly shit on, really. The head of the CW basically says that Swamp Thing will not be returning for a second season. Big surprise there. I mean, it's been, what is it now? Over a year since they left, since production was shut down after that first season. And he says, but he being Swamp Thing, may show up in Legends of Tomorrow, but not likely, which means it's never going to happen. Which is a shame because Swamp Thing was so fucking good. And it's criminal that it went to the CW. It should have gone over to HBO Max. It still should be on HBO Max, where they should actually be good. If it would have been on CW, it just would have been shit. It really would have. So I'd rather have it come to HBO Max and be restarted there. That's one thing that DC is just not, it doesn't embrace the supernatural stuff at all. I don't know what it is. Both DC and Marvel just don't embrace their supernatural stuff in live action. They'll do it in the comics. They don't do it in they don't even do it in animation, to tell you the truth. But they have some good stuff there. They really do. I mean, the Sons of Midnight in Marvel, fuck, you got a good thing going there. You could easily do a series on that, the Sons of Midnight. And you don't need to do multiple series. Like, you don't need to do a Blade series and a Ghost Rider series and all that kind of stuff to, and to tie them all together. Just do the Sons of Midnight, and you can focus on one episode on each character and then have them come together as the Sons of Midnight for the first season. It's not that difficult, really. It's not. It's not rocket science. Yeah, Penn, I would like the original Constantine, the way they did it on the NBC network. Because as much as I like Legends of Tomorrow and the campiness of it and everything, I don't like what they've done with, Constantine on Legends of Tomorrow. I'd rather him be a little more, I want him to be the chain smoker, smart ass who swears. Really. Derek Robertson, by the way, The Boys co-creator and artist, was working on a Constantine book fairly recently, and supposedly it's kind of a throwback to the way Constantine used to be in the Hellblazer series. So Stanley Twill says maybe Stargirl could survive the switch to CW, but I'm skeptical Swamp Thing would have been. Yeah, Stargirl was made for the CW. That's fine. Swamp Thing was not. Swamp Thing is adult oriented. It started off on the DC universe. It had swearing in it. It had almost nudity in there, and it had body horror, which you could not do on the CW. You just can't. It was a really good horror movie, also based on some supernatural, and just it worked very, very, very well. So that was one thing I got to give James Wan credit for on that. He was producer on that, and they went with the body horror image stuff, and I liked it. They did a good job. Yes, Agent Future, I miss NBC's Constantine version as well. Penn says Matt Ryan is so good in the role, but I like the Keanu. Yeah, it was kind of funny. I was unburying my DVD collection here, and I was putting it back up. And where is he? Constantine is someplace up there. I know he's in there someplace. Yeah, but I do have Constantine. See, now I'm actually just kind of looking because I can't remember where I put it. I know I put it on the comic section. This is all comic section right here, and some down below there too. So, yeah, I know he's up there someplace. The CW Soup Show trailer looks. Actually, Stanley, I'm interested in seeing Superman and Lois, or is it Lois and Superman? No, it's Superman and Lois. I want to see how they're going to deal with kids, superpowered kids. It looks like the kids don't know he's Superman, and now find out about it when they're teenagers. So I am kind of interested to see what they're going to do with this. And also, I like the guy who's playing Clark Superman. He's been playing him for a while now in the CW, and I actually kind of like his take on it. He's not like super arrogant, and he's not repellent like some other Supermen that have been out there. And yeah, I'm kind of digging it, to tell you the truth. Stanley says not really for me. It seems typical CW teen. Yeah, it's going to be typical CW stuff, but I'm hoping it kind of veers more Supergirl-ish, which was good for a while there, and then there's a reason why it's ending right now. And yeah, they need to really focus on the superhero aspects and not the drama aspects of shit. But I understand CW, lower budget, they need to actually work towards their drama section instead of their superhero section, because superhero stuff costs money. That's what Flash fell victim to too. Oh man, Flash, the less said the better about what it's become. Ginger Gonzaga has been cast in She-Hulk, the DC Plus series that's coming up, as Jen Walters' best friend. Jen Walters, by the way, being She-Hulk. In the comic, in the John Byrne comic, she actually does have a best friend that she confided in and all that stuff, who's human, doesn't have any powers, all that kind of stuff. And it was actually a good dynamic, back and forth kind of thing. And I'm wondering, I don't know what character she's going to be playing at this, but if they do it well, if they do like that dynamic in the comic, it's actually going to be a lot of fun having her trying to relate superhero stuff to someone who's non-powered and vice versa, and having that juxtaposition. It actually works in the comics. It actually puts the viewer, the reader, who whatever at that point in those shoes, and you actually get to say, oh, okay, there's that's what's going on. I can actually relate to that at that point. So hey, Morks. Yeah. Penn says I'm behind on CW shows. Maybe that's a good thing. Flash was still pretty good when I stopped. Yeah, that changed. I want to say somewhere around the first crossover is where it changed, and it's been pretty bad since. So, yeah. Stanley Trio says Superman kids look like Bill and Ted, by the way. Not really. Just because he has shaggy hair and it's cut in a bowl cut, kind of like Ted, doesn't mean that's Bill and Ted. And that'll change, of course, too. Yeah. Mork says I'm just a little itty bit late. I'll rewatch it later when it's over and really look for. So, do you want me to start over, Mork? I can start over for you. Uh, I'm kidding because I'm not going to. Yeah. Yes, and hello to all the lurkers out there. And guys, really, you can chat in the chat section if you guys want to bring some stuff up perfectly. And remember, just be nice about what you're bringing up. I'm not going to tackle any controversial shit, no politics or anything like that either. It this is kind of a nice zone, if you will. I like to talk about the stuff that's coming up. Um, I really don't dwell too much on the past stuff that's out there. There's other channels that deal with that shit. If you want to deal with that, or if you want to see that, it's out there. Yeah, yeah. I will troll you every now and then if I like you. Morks knows what I'm talking about. So does Movie Fanobi. So speaking of which, I just got a message from one of them. So also speaking of casting, Savannah Welch has been cast as Barbara Gordon in season 3 of Titans. And supposedly, I think this is going to be the Oracle version of Barbara Gordon and not the Batgirl version, although we are going to have flashbacks, supposedly, of how Batgirl became Oracle. And for those of you who don't know, it involves a crowbar and the Joker. So, or a baseball bat, the Joker. Can't remember which one it is. Depends on the version. And yeah, in a wheelchair. So that's what's going on. I don't know who Savannah Welch is, and Titans has always been the black sheep of the DC universe shows, shall we say. And now it's going over to HBO Max, and I don't think it's going to get any better. It's mainly there for me to make dick jokes about because, Dick Grayson, and they make their own dick jokes within the series itself. And that's all I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a whole bunch of dick jokes while I cover that one. Yeah. Penn says, I know we disagree on this, Dennis, but I like the old Birds of Prey show. There was parts of the old Birds of Prey show that I did like, Penn. But then again, I'm remembering, back, it's nostalgia. I'm sure if I rewatched it now, I'd just go, what the fuck was this? But yeah, I don't think it's going to age too well. Yep. Yeah. Hey, Ed. How's it going? Yeah, so good stuff out there that's coming up, other than Titans. And more casting news. Chris Evans supposedly is in talks right now to come back as Captain America. Actually, it's not supposedly. This is from Deadline. Chris Evans is in talks to come back as Captain America for a future MCU project or projects. I know he said he wasn't going to come back, but it looks like he is. Yeah. Yeah. Agent Future says Titans is such a weird show. It operates as an off-brand. Yeah, Agent Future, you're right. It's kind of like it's not Nightwing, it's Nightbring. Or it's not Robin, it's Frobin. Or it's not, Batman, it's Flatman. It's it really is like off-brand. You ever seen those like other countries? They do knockoff versions of of toys and stuff like that, and they like Spider-Man, they'll do something different and they package it different with a different name. That's pretty much how Titans is. It's kind of like that off-brand of a character that you know, and you're like, that looks kind of like Batman, but it's not Batman. That looks kind of like Robin, but it's not Robin. you know, it really is bad. Uh, yeah. Pen Farm Girl says, "How big a truckload of money did they give Chris?" I'm going to say a metric ton of shitload of money. Yes. Um, Penn says Titans was the worst of the DC shows, but it wasn't all that bad. Yeah, that's true. It wasn't. I mean, it wasn't like a Hellstrom bad or a Inhumans bad, which are Marvel shows, by the way. I'm trying to think of any DC like really bad DC shows that they did. I mean, the DC shows have always been kind of mediocre, especially the CW ones. Well, the DC Universe ones, uh, the DC Universe ones have been decent to good. I mean, to really, really good. Other than Titans, Titans is the one that's at the bottom of the barrel, and even then, it's brought something that you're just like, okay, I kind of like that. I kind of like this, but I don't like the entire series as a whole because you fuck up a lot of things more than you get it right. So yeah, I agree with you, Ed. Evans can be Captain America until he decides to give it up. I agree with you on that. Penn says DC streaming was a pleasant surprise. Yeah, and speaking of which, thanks, Penn, because you actually prompted me on that. This weekend, they rebranded DC Universe and it's now DC Universe Unlimited, or no, DC Infinity. That's what it is. And it's all comics now. So if you want to get in on that, you can. But you can read all your comics digitally online or just go to Comixology like the rest of us and do it that way. Um, yeah. No, it's not DC. It's got an infinity symbol marks. So it's got a little, it's DC Infinity. It's really stupid. I got the email this weekend. I think it was yesterday. And I looked at it and I was like, yeah, no, I'm pass. That's the last thing I need is another, digital comic series that I'm paying $8 a month for. I don't think so. Yeah. Hey, Popeye Pliskin. The first two seasons of Arrow were really good. Yeah, they were. They were really, really good. And then budget crunch happened, is what happened. And then they said, okay, we need to go more drama heavy than we need to do superhero stuff. Yeah. Stanley Twill says a lot of the CW shows started good and then they got lost in hallways. Yeah. Feelings in hallways. Feelings in hallways. I agree with you, Stanley. I actually had for a while there, I was trying to cover some of the DC shows or the CW shows, and I called the segment Feelings in Hallways, where I just kind of bunched them all together in one podcast. So I did the week's worth of CW shows, and I even had to give up on it just because I couldn't do it anymore. It was that bad. I was sitting there watching, just going, no, I can't do this anymore. It's just punishing myself. And I was just getting meaner and meaner as I was going through and doing it because it was just pissing me off as I was watching it. And that's not what I'm about here. I'm really not. Sure, I will bash shows every now and then when they deserve it, and deservedly so. But I know there's a lot of work that goes into these things, and I know people pour their creativity, blood, sweat, and tears into it. But sometimes, man, you got to look at it and go, why did you make this? Why did you fucking make this? And that was the reason why Is It Worth My Time got born out of that, was because I just couldn't do anymore, dedicating to a show in a series or something like that. And it just became easier to do. Is it worth my time? Krypton had a lot of hallways and they all looked the same. But you know what? I'll give Krypton this. They actually went for story. Krypton storylines were actually pretty good. They had some good storylines going on. And I was kind of disappointed to see them get canceled. That would have been something that if they carried over to the CW, I would have been okay with because they were going someplace. Although they did have little Lobo, tiny Lobo. Tiny Lobo. Because that dude was tiny. I don't know where they found him. They must have found him in the, bottom of a bottle someplace or something, but he was fucking small. And Lobo's supposed to be this huge guy, this huge character. And also don't get me started on the timeline of events too, because he was way off on the timeline of events. He was 100 years too early. But yeah. Uh-huh. Creativity in Batwoman. Uh Stanley, yeah, I can't watch Batwoman. I'm not even gonna bother with the new iteration of it. It was bad. And granted, the villain was actually really good. She was really, really good. She was acting like she was in a different series altogether. Everyone else around her was just crap, including the lead. What's her face? Um, Ruby Rose. Yeah. Oh man, horrible, horrible actress. Ed Burr says when feelings and hallways start forming in Cobra Kai, Johnny chops it in the throat. That's true, Ed. This is true. Stanley says Cobra Kai is one of the few shows that did fan service and install. Yeah, they did. They did do it right. I have to admit. I did finish Cobra Kai season 3, and yeah, it's good. It's really good. And that phone call at the end, you knew exactly who he was going to call because they were setting it up and everything with Crease's background and all that stuff. And they even did a red herring. I was kind of surprised, the whole POW camp thing, where you get the guy with the ponytail who looks like another character that we've already seen in the movies, and it wasn't. That wasn't the man. Yeah. Mork says, Dennis, did you talk WandaVision? Yeah, on the WandaVision review that I did. What do you want to talk about, Morks, specifically? I don't want to get into spoilers here for WandaVision for those people who have not watched it. This is kind of a spoiler-free zone too on this. So that's why I don't, unless the movie's been out for 5 years or something like that. And, at that point, or more, I'll give away the ending on that. Especially Avengers Endgame. They use time travel. Never said everything right. There you go. Cap doesn't come back. He's an old man. What did you want to talk about, Marks? Anything? You're typing it out. While you're typing it out, March 4th, CBS All Access gets rebranded as Paramount Plus. Why? 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 I mean, if we weren't going to watch CBS All Access as CBS All Access, I'm sure as hell not going to pay for it as Paramount Plus. Yeah, you can take all your CBS content and flush it. Just not worth it. It really is not worth it. Peacock actually did it right, where you pay for some stuff, but you have a lot of free stuff on that channel as well, especially all your NBC programming that's free anyway. That's the way they should have done Paramount Plus, CBS All Access, or whatever the fuck they want to call it. Yeah. It was the name of the sled, Rosebud. Is that what you're talking about? Oh, you're asking if I talked WandaVision? Oh. That was announced for some time ago for the international marketing. Okay. Yeah, I know that. Well, they just kind of reiterated it. I want to say last week about that. That's why I'm bringing it up. Oh, nobody knows CBS in Europe. Oh, that's true. Didn't think about that, Stanley. But yeah, still. Ugh. So the last thing I've got here And again, take this with a grain of salt, like a huge boulder of salt. According to Kevin Smith, uh, HBO Max is working on making a series sequel, an animated series sequel to Batman the Animated Series. Not surprising, quite honestly, because of how well, Harley Quinn has been accepted by the ratings and fans and stuff like that. But also, Batman the Animated Series is one of the best series that people keep talking about all the time, and they keep watching it over and over and over again. I say this because I've got Batman the Animated Series underneath here as well. I've got the full series there. I've also got Batman Beyond, not in I've got it in two different iterations. I have it in the low resolution, and I also have it in Blu-ray, the remastered one. I didn't buy the Batman the Animated Series in the remastered one because it was really too fucking expensive. I got a deal on the Batman Beyond Blu-ray one, which was good. And I got a pop out of it too, a Funko Pop, which was cool. Which is in the Funko Pop box, which is out in storage at the moment. Sort of like a Royale with cheese in Amsterdam. Yep, exactly. And you know what? I keep bringing this up all the time, Popeye, but since you mentioned Pulp Fiction anyway, the Kahuna Burger, the Big Kahuna Burger, was a real thing. It was in San Diego. That it no longer exists anymore. I actually did eat at the Kahuna Burger place. It was literally right around the corner from a buddy of mine who lived down there, and their burger was okay. It wasn't the tastiest burger I ever had. It was a tasty burger, but it wasn't the tastiest burger I ever had. There you go. Oh man. So Frankie and Annette agree with you. All right. So I take it you guys are not too impressed with the new digs, because it looks like the old digs and stuff like that, except it's less echoey now. You just hear water trickling in the background, like a nice soothing breeze or something like that to calm you down. And I'm telling you, this fluctuation with the camera is pissing me off at the moment too. It's going yellow, then white, yellow. It's like, oh man, I can see that. So that's another reason why to get a new computer as well. There's a multiple things with a new computer that I want to get. So yeah, it has to do with speed and all that stuff. I have a different internet company now, so I actually have a good connection. Um, ugh, Fingers crossed. It doesn't have any dolls yet. That's right. It doesn't. They're action figures, man. No, Stanley, I haven't unboxed everything yet. Thanks, Salty. I know I jinxed myself by saying that I haven't I have a good internet connection. Everything goes to shit. Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's gonna be coming out. A Resident Alien, I am gonna try and cover, but I'm not gonna be covering on the night of because Resident Alien competes with The Expanse, which is fucking ridiculous. I don't know what sci-fi was thinking, but excuse me, but yeah, I'm not covering Resident Alien on the same night as The Expanse. Not gonna happen. I'll do it the next night, but yeah. I did get the joke, Stanley. Yeah. I agree with you, Stanley. Oh, well, you know what? Technically, The Expanse is out on Tuesday, so I could actually move The Expanse to Tuesday for your really hardcore people and then do Resident Alien on Wednesday, but nah, nah. Ed Burris, is there anything on network TV worth watching? No, there isn't. I don't have cable anymore, Stanley. I haven't or Ed, excuse me. I cut the cord a while ago and I'm much better for it. I don't pay anywhere near what I was paying for in cable, and I get to watch all the same shows that I was watching before. So I don't understand what this whole thing is about people wanting to pay for cable. Yeah, unless you want to watch the sports ball or whatever, great. That's even then there are ways around that. You can actually subscribe to just sports only shit if that's what you're into. Um, but quite frankly, sports is boring to me. Um, I follow hockey more than anything else. And what I do, and I love the San Jose Sharks. I've always been a Sharks fan since they started. On my phone, basically, I get updates, real time updates of what's going on with the game. Would I like to watch the game? Maybe once in a while, but not all that often. I literally live now a train ride away from the stadium. So if I really, really, really get a bug up my ass, I buy a ticket. I'd buy a cheap nosebleed ticket, travel to the stadium whenever, quarantine stuff comes off, and go and sit there in the stadium and watch it. There, that's it. But frankly, right now, I don't think sports is an important thing to watch or pay for. Ed Burr says I was watching a show called Evil. It seemed okay. Oh, that's right. The CBS show Evil, or NBC. NBC. That is on Netflix now too, if I remember correctly. I didn't get it. It didn't look like anything I really wanted to see. So, yeah. Yeah. I don't think it's canceled, Ed. It might just have been delayed because of, yeah, COVID. Who knows? But yeah, like I said, cable, honestly, so my sister still pays for cable, and it's a ridiculous amount that they pay. And the reason is because of sports. That's really what it is. Um, they get every sports channel known to mankind. And I think every movie channel known to mankind too. But they're paying a ridiculous sum of money for it. It's not worth it. Yeah. And I say this now as someone who actually can afford to do that kind of ridiculous sum of money too, but I'm not gonna do it. It's just not worth it. I honestly, I don't have the time to watch all that stuff either. I really don't. Um, as it is, I don't have the time to watch some of the stuff I'm watching anyway. I make the time. It's easier now with the cord cutting. Yeah. Ed Bursa and the streaming service on top of the cable. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you look at it, you got 15 bucks, excuse me, 16 bucks for Netflix, or 17 bucks, somewhere around there. Unless you're doing the HD, then you got, what is it, 25 bucks, I think is what it is for Netflix. Um, you have Amazon Prime, which you're paying 120 bucks a year for, um, somewhere around there. Unless you're paying monthly, then of course you have an increased fee on that. Disney Plus, which is $8 a month, which is going to $9 a month this year, unless you bought the package, and then of course it's cheaper. These all, vary depending on your packages. Hulu, which again is like $5 a month. Unless you get the package again, if you do the bundle with ESPN and all that stuff, then you're looking at $15 a month. HBO Max, which is another $15 a month. And then God forbid you're getting like Showtime, Cinemax, or something like that, which are all like $8 to $10 a month anyway. And you add it all up, you're paying for cable at that point. So depending on what you want to watch. I have Netflix, Disney Plus, because I paid for 3 years. Basically, I paid for 2 years and I got a year for free for Disney Plus, which was a good deal. Um, and I'll probably end up doing it again anyway, because that was actually the better way of going. And I routinely find whatever the fuck I want to watch on Disney Plus. There's a lot of stuff on there. Um, so I said Netflix, Disney Plus. I have Amazon Prime, and I think that's it that I'm paying for right now. Yeah. Oh, and HBO Max. Sorry, and HBO Max. So there you go. So I'm paying like around $40 a month, somewhere around there. Yeah. Actually $50 a month, which if I was paying for cable, I would be paying probably like 120 for all, and on top of that. Yeah. Emperor says the mindset needs to be rotate and binge, not pay monthly to pay month to month. Yeah. I they're dead. They being the megalith corporations and stuff like that are dead set against you doing an a la carte menu. They want you to subscribe. The reason why it's a Netflix model. People who subscribe to Netflix forget that they've subscribed to Netflix, so they just keep paying for it over and over again. It's the same thing like a gym membership. You've paid for that gym membership. Some people keep paying, paying, and paying, but never go, and they keep getting charged for it. So that's what the model is that you have these constant people that are just feeding you money but aren't using your service. And that is the reason why they are going with this instead of doing the a la carte menu. And then also the a la carte menu means that people actually have to actively hunt for stuff to find it and subscribe to it or buy it or something like that. And that also goes against the way people consume their media. It really is. Stanley says I unsubscribe on a monthly basis depending on the shows I want to watch. True. Yeah, I know what you mean. I do the same thing I did with Hulu. Hulu had Future Man on there, and so I resubscribed for the final season of Future Man. I also watched Motherland on there, which was actually really good, and then I quit because it had nothing else on there that appealed to me. I tried watching Animaniacs, and yeah, but from what I understand, Hulu's getting folded into Disney Plus anyway at some point. So what's the point? I actually would like to see Hulu get folded into Disney Plus and pay an extra buck. That would be the way to do it. Yeah, but and honestly, I use a Fire TV Cube is what I get, and everything is lined up, so I already know where everything is. Also, I'm watching. I've been watching Pluto TV, Stir, and I'm trying to think of what else. There's another free service that has a whole bunch of stuff on there for free and it has some ads in there. Yeah, big deal. And CW is free. You can watch that. Now that I'm in an area that actually gets really good antenna reception and stuff like that, I've got my antenna that I'm going to put up again and start grabbing stuff, you know, off the airwaves again, watching live TV. Popeye Pliskin says, I read somewhere that HBO lost 50% of their 18 to 35 age viewers after Game of Thrones ended a few. Yeah, they did. Yeah. Um, so HBO is owned by AT&T Time Warner or AT&T. It's AT&T basically. And I don't know what their CEO is doing, but they are not consumer friendly. And they've been trying to sell off like DirecTV Now or DirecTV for years now. And that hasn't happened because no one's stupid enough to buy it off of them. And they are just increasing the prices on this one. I think they just increased it again just this last week. And it's ridiculous. They also have AT&T Now is what it's called, which is essentially the same thing as DirecTV, but I think it's more expensive. I don't understand, and so they seem to be just shooting themselves in the feet repeatedly. I don't understand that. Yeah. I agree with you, Ed. I've watched both Pluto and Tubi as well. Yeah. And take a look at Stir. Stir is actually the same thing, and they keep adding more and more channels to it, which is kind of cool. Like almost every week they add new channels. Yeah. Ed Brewer says Lowcast is here in Tampa. Yeah, we have Lowcast here too in the Bay Area. Yeah, I had the choice between. So for my internet providers, I had the choice between Xfinity, AT&T, which I would never go with because their rates fluctuate like crazy, and something called Wave G. Now, who is Wave G, you might ask? I don't know if you ever heard of the old company called Astound. So Wave G bought Astound and kind of absorbed them in. And all they do is, I guess you could say, networked buildings, that kind of thing. So my building that I'm in now is fairly new. It's actually a year old. It's only 1 year old. So it has, land jacks in all the rooms. And all you need to do, and yes, it's fiber. So all you need to do is have a router, plug it in, and boom, you're good. You're golden. And that's what Wave G is. So yeah, I was all right with that. Derpy Gaming says, I heard marketing starts in February for Snyder Cut, maybe at the super. Yeah. I know that HBO Max is releasing tomorrow excuse me, the trailer for King Kong versus Godzilla, which is in March, which means the Snyder Cut can't be far behind because I think they're going to be doing King Kong versus Godzilla is going to be the first release in March, and then the Snyder Cut comes out in the tail end of March. So tomorrow we get the trailer for King Kong versus Godzilla, and then I'm fairly sure that next week we're going to get the Snyder Cut trailer. Yeah. HBO is trying to be a heavy hitter. I just read something recently that Disney Plus has surpassed Netflix now at this point in viewers, not in viewers, but in ratings and things like that. And they are rapidly gaining ground on Netflix. I mean, rapidly gaining ground, and Netflix is worried. So Popeye says, is there going to be Leto's Joker in the Snyder Cut? Yes, there is. Yeah, they're restoring him in there, and supposedly Leto has gone back and actually filmed some new stuff too. Yeah, that's I don't know. It's 4 hours long, man. It's going to be 4 hours long. I don't know if I can do it. I may just need to watch an hour at a time and then just watch something good. In between, like I don't know, the entire first 5 seasons or first 4 seasons of The Expanse, and then come back to it and watch the second hour, and then watch something good, and Philip A. Demick says guilty pleasure equals Average Joe. A really bad indie superhero movie I couldn't help but enjoy. No hidden agenda, just peeps having fun. Don't know what that is, Philip. Never heard of it. Yeah. Stanley Tweedle says, anything good on HBO Max soon? I mean, Harley or Doom Patrol or something on that level, not recuts of old films. Not that I know of. Oh, if you have HBO Max, they did finally release the first 2 seasons of Warrior on there. If you haven't seen Warrior, I highly recommend it. That is basically Shannon Lee, the daughter of Bruce Lee, found notes, Bruce Lee's original notes on Kung Fu, the series that he was going to make that got stolen from him. And they made Kung Fu, the series, essentially only with nudity, violence, Just really fucking good, and it's actually done by the guy who did Banshee, and it's on HBO Max. That's definitely worth it right there. Yeah. That is actually a really good, and it's a crime that it's not getting a third season on this. It really should get a third season. It should move over to HBO Max, get a third season. It's really good. It's got good martial arts. It's got good acting. It's got a good storyline. I want to see where they were going to go with it. And yeah, not happening. Ed Burr says 4 hours is tough. And yeah, so Endgame was long, but it was well written. And that's the whole thing. It was well written, but long. Yes. Zack Snyder, I don't have any faith in that. I mean, it's tough making it through a regular Zack Snyder film at 90 minutes versus 4 hours. I mean, go back and try and rewatch Watchmen. Oh, that is a dog of a movie. I mean, it really is. 300, on the other hand, you can zip through that fairly easily because that's a 90-minute movie. Is that a 90-minute movie? Or, you know what? Let's take a look. I don't remember how long that is. Oh, I take that back. It's a 2 hour long movie, an hour and 57 minutes. That one you can still actually watch, you know, and it's decent. I actually have it up here someplace too. That might be in the comic book section. I don't remember. Someplace there. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I have 3 different versions of Big Trouble in Little China on DVD down here, which is pretty funny. I also have, I think, like 4 different versions of Army of Darkness. Yeah. Stanley Twill says, I don't like 300 much, on the other hand. 300 is actually a pretty faithful adaptation of a comic, I have to admit. And why shouldn't it be? He basically had the comic. It was already storyboarded out for him. He followed the storyboards is what he did. That's really what he did. He followed the storyboards and made the story. Keith Hamilton says, how long does it take to rewatch Sucker Punch? 5 years, Keith. That's how long it takes. 5 years. Because you lose IQ points as you watch it, and you don't remember that you watched it, and you need to stop, and then you go back, and then you're like, oh yeah, I watched this shit before, and then you lose more IQ points, and then yeah. That's a fucking horrible movie. It's a horrible fucking movie. Actually, when I was moving, I found a promotional bag, one of those little string bags, backpack bags, in my stuff. And what I use that for is when I travel, I use that for dirty clothes. Yeah, my dirty clothes go in that string bag, and it goes back into into the suitcase. I figured it was appropriate for it. Penn says, "Why would you ever rewatch it? Because you forgot that you watched it the first time, Penn, because you lost the IQ points, and you're like, Sucker Punch. That looks like a good movie. I don't think I ever watched that. Then you watch it, you're like, holy shit, I did watch this. I remember it now. That's what happens. Yeah. And yes, I am rambling on and on and on, but that's because I haven't done one of these in a while. So this is going to be a rambly one. I know that. Send the bag to Marks. He'll take. That's funny, Stanley. No, Marks has already gotten enough useless shit from me. Just ask him about his Titans poster. Penn says, I couldn't forget the pain. The pain. Ed Burr says, the train fight. I remember the train. Yeah. I'm not gonna say that the visuals weren't bad on it. The visuals were good in some aspects, but the story was fucking horrible. The acting was goddamn horrible as well. It just was horrible all the way around. I think it ended a couple of people's careers, that movie. I'm fairly sure it ended a few people's careers. Yeah. Yeah, the less said about that movie, the better. Yeah, I think 300 is the only Zack Snyder movie I own. It is. Yeah, it would be. And by the way, don't judge me on the Sabotage movie that's up here, the Schwarzenegger one. I got that for free. I think God, how did I get that? Oh, that's right. I went and saw a premiere of something else, and they gave that to me as I was walking out the door for free. Who knows why? And I was like, I didn't see this one, and I popped it in. I'm like, I know now why I didn't see this movie. It's a Schwarzenegger movie, by the way, with Johnny Knoxville, or yeah, Johnny Knox. Johnny Knox. It's a horrible fucking movie. Horrible fucking movie, even for a Schwarzenegger movie. And he's made some bad ones lately. Popeye Pliskin says Snyder's Dawn of the Dead was it now. I have the original Dawn of the Dead. Again, whoa, someplace over here. And that's a good movie. The Snyder remake of that was horrible. The opening scene, though, I have to admit, the opening scene of Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead was really good. Other than that, no. Yeah. Watchmen is the only Snyder movie in your collection. I'm sorry, Stanley. Yeah. Only bad Schwarzenegger movies can. I wouldn't say that, Marks. Have you seen the one with him and Jackie Chan, where he plays a Russian czar or something like that? There's some bad Schwarzenegger movies out there. Also, the one with him and Stallone in that prison, or they're trying to escape the prison. That's a horrible movie too. I'm trying to think what other bad. Killing Gunther, by the way, was actually a fairly decent Schwarzenegger movie. Speaking of which, that was actually pretty fucking funny, I have to admit. Mark says, no, I haven't because I hate Jackie. Okay. It's probably, I think that was the worst movie of 2020, is what people were saying. How about the Mr. Universe movie? You mean the Pumping Iron one, Stanley Tweedle? That's just a creepy movie. If you go and watch it and I mean, I'm going to go on record as saying that's a fairly rapey movie, is what it is. When you go and watch it, and you're just like, ooh, man. His first movie was Hercules in New York. That's what it was, Stanley. That was his first movie. And they dubbed him over completely because his accent was so bad. And yes, I do know that off the top of my head. There you go. It's free for you. I used to be really good at trivia stuff. And then, of course, you get age and whiskey involved and other illicit things, and shit happens. Ed Brewer says, which director dominates your collection? I want to say Sam Raimi. Yeah, I think Sam Raimi actually dominates my collection quite a bit. Uh-huh. I mean, although I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. I mean, I have some, the early James Cameron stuff too. So James Cameron's in there as well. Terminator, True Lies, Aliens, all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to think what else. I have stuff actually kind of grouped by actors too. So you can see over this way is the Keanu wing over here. And then it's followed by the Schwarzenegger wing over this way from where, yeah. So this is all the Schwarzenegger wing over here. Um, this is all, of course, the Marvel wing down here, and there's some DC stuff back in here as well. And yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, you would think I would have a lot more John Carpenter, but yeah, it's mainly Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi, if you are a film student, a film school student, he does the best film tutorials just by watching his movies that you could ever learn out of any director ever, by the way. Um, when I was in art school and I was taking my film class, one of my film classes, basically for blocking and learning all these. So basically, when you're doing 3D animation, you need to learn how to block a scene, how to do things like rack focuses, how to do camera techniques as you're doing animation. And it's the same thing as being a director, but you're wearing multiple hats when you're doing animation. And my teacher at the time, her husband worked for Pixar, and she actually worked on the Lord of the Rings movies. So she worked on all of that. Basically, she would work for, what'd she say, like 4 or 5 months out of the year. And then she would take 18 months off because of how much you get paid. And then she'd go and do teaching in between and all that kind of stuff. And we used to talk all the time about, different directors, and whenever she'd ask for, an example of something, I would always go Sam Raimi. She's like, yeah, you're right. Because Sam Raimi does everything in his movies. A lot of people shit on the Wizard of Oz movie that he did, or the Oz movie that he did in 3D. He actually went back to school to learn about 3D to get it right. So if you ever get a chance to see Oz in 3D, I highly recommend you do that, because he knew about foreground, middle ground, background, so that he could split it up into 3D and you actually got a true 3D image. It's the best 3D movie that you're ever going to see, because the director actually had that in mind as he was blocking out all his fucking shots. There you go. Stanley Tweedle says Jim Jarmusch and Tim Burton. Yeah, Jim Jarmusch is awesome. I mean, I'm kind of surprised I don't have Ghost Dog Way of the Samurai in my collection, because that's one of my favorites. Popeye Pliskin says John Carpenter's The Thing is my top. Yes, I have The Thing in here. I've got, of course, Escape from New York. Trying to think what else I have. I have a lot of Carpenter movies in my collection as well. So, Philip Adamic says everyone hates The Quick. Oh, I love The Quick and the Dead. The Quick and the Dead is a very underrated movie. And again, I always talk about this scene. So the scene where Gene Hackman slaps Sharon Stone, he really slaps her. So there was they had a feud going. They didn't like each other. She hated him. He hated her. And they did the scene. And then Gene Hackman supposedly said, I want to do this again. I want to try a different angle on it. And Sam's like, all right. So they did it. And he just hauls off and smacks her. So that anger that you see in her face when she goes for him, that's real. Because she wanted to fucking kill him. But she remembered, it's the old adage, when you're filming something, is if the stunt connects, you keep going with the scene. You don't break character, you just keep going. And you see her, she's gonna break character for a second and like haul off from, and then they hold her back, and that's real, and then she kind of like realizes and she stays with the scene. You see it in her eyes. Go ahead and watch it. So it's awesome. Yeah. Yes, I saw The Quick and the Dead in the theater as well, Popeye. That's anything Sam Raimi, I'll go and see in the movie theater. Yeah. I saw, Drag Me to Hell in the movie theater. Like I said, pretty much anything he does, I'll go and watch. He is a great artist. One of my favorite movies of his that doesn't get a lot of airplay is called Lunatics: A Love Story, and it actually stars his brother Ted and Deborah Foreman, and Bruce Campbell's in it briefly. He's only in it for like maybe 5 minutes total, and he plays the psychopathic ex-boyfriend of Deborah Foreman who's stalking her, called Ray. And it's probably one of his best performances. I have to admit, it is really, but it's a great movie. Yeah. Yeah. Also, take a look at Hackman's face after he slaps her. He smiles. He's got a little smile on his face because that's what he had been wanting to do that for the longest fucking time. But yeah, he literally hauls off and smacks her with his glove, across the face. She was not expecting that. I don't condone violence, on the movie set or anything like that, but that is one of those scenes you just kind of look at and you're like, holy fuck, now that you know the story behind it. Yeah, it's one of those things that yeah, you get to see all kinds of emotion just go right across her face, and woof, wow. I agree with you, Popeye Pluskin. Bruce Campbell and Bubba Hotep it's criminal that he did not get an Academy Award nomination. And the reason why they couldn't do it is because it got released on video, I believe, because it never made a real proper theater release, and I think it came out on video before it hit the theater, and that's what happened. Yeah. But I have Bubba Hotep up here too. Yes. It seems like, there's perennial movies that I buy pretty much every rendition of. Escape from New York, Big Trouble in Little China. Yeah, like I said, I literally have 3 copies of Big Trouble in Little China down here. Yeah, there we go. So I have the enhanced widescreen version. That's the old. I used to have it on VHS. Okay, so I had Big Trouble in Little China on VHS. I had it on Laserdisc. Got it on DVD, the old version of DVD. Then on Blu-ray, of course, and then a Steelbook as well, which is also Blu-ray. I think it might even be 4K at this point. No, just yeah. So, and the thing, Popeye, if you've probably already heard it, but the thing actually has a really great commentary by Carpenter and Kurt Russell, and you can hear them. They're drinking as they're doing the commentary, and they're pretty much talking about everything but the movie. Every now and then they interject about the movie, but it is the best commentary of any movie I've ever seen. Or maybe there is another one with Kevin Smith. I believe it's Clerks or Mallrats. I can't remember which one it is, where basically the entire cast just shitting on Ben Affleck while he's there. And it's pretty funny too. Let's see. What else do we have here? Even reading that word, Stanley, I hear the Princess Bride. Inconceivable. I also think of Mike Tyson when I hear that word, inconceivable. Inconceivable. It's ludicrous. I don't know why, but it just makes me laugh. Total props to Mike Tyson, by the way. I don't want to get punched in the face, but I hear his voice when I hear that. I hear both of them, actually. I hear both, Vincenzo is his name in Princess Bride. And then I also hear, Mike Tyson. Philip A. Demick says, I like the Robert Mitchum set story when the director kept retaking him slapping the female lead. He said, we were doing one more take, and takes after that will be me slapping you. Yeah, there's a lot of great, movie and TV um, stories out there. And also, one of my favorites is so the old series Star Trek, of course, where Kirk and Uhura are forced to kiss on screen. It's the first, it's considered the first interracial kiss on TV. Although it's been disputed, there's some stuff that happened before, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, um, so they did it, they filmed it, right? And then the producers were like, we want to do it the other way where they don't kiss. And we want to film that too, just so we have the option, is what the producers, knowing full well they were never going to use the interracial kiss. They didn't want to have that happen. So they were pushing for it. Shatner, to his credit, fucks up every single take afterwards. Yes, and he does it purposely. He fucks up every single take. And I think they did like 40 takes, something like that. And Nichelle Nichols even talks about this, that, yeah, Shatner fucked up every single take afterwards. So they were forced to use that shot, which I thought was pretty fucking funny. And I'll give props to Shatner where it's due at that point. And that story came from Nichelle Nichols. It's credible. It didn't come from Shatner, because we know how Shatner is kind of an ego hound. So, all right. Well, I think I've monopolized enough of your time. Denny Crane. All right, guys. I'm going to let you guys go for the day. Thank you to everybody who joined me today in the chat, and thank you if you made it through this really rambly version of Saturday Morning Blast Off. What else do I have going on this week? Let's see. Tomorrow I'm off. Monday I'm off. Tuesday might be an episode of Is It Worth My Time? We're gonna play around with. I start my new job on Monday, so I'm gonna play with it at this point. Wednesday is going to be The Expanse. That's right. Thursday is going to be Resident Alien. That's right. The first episode of Resident Alien. We're going to do that on Thursday. Friday is going to be WandaVision. Saturday will be Saturday Morning Blast Off. And that's where we all roll back around again. All right. So with that said, before I forget, if you like everything, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops at the very end here. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down there. Also, if you want to know when we'll be on live again next, hit the bell. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule that's up there. I do change it out every week when I remember. And so until then, I'm going to let you guys go and have a great weekend. Hopefully you guys watch some good stuff or get outside, get some fresh air, do all that kind of stuff. Other than that, wait until I come back I might be back on Tuesday, but most likely Wednesday. And don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may end up, I don't know, having a great weekend. How's that sound? Thanks, everybody. I will see you again on Wednesday, most likely, possibly Tuesday. But until then, stay safe, be well, take care, and have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.